Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's see what these tea leaves have for you today, Pisces. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with, we have a large B here on the side. This is kind of in that emotional, psychic zone. So I think this is somebody who you've been thinking about quite a bit. It's really a big formation. So somebody with a name that starts with a B, maybe they are in a career path that starts with a B, or maybe they have a descriptive word about, that relates to them that starts with a B. So let's see if we can see anything else about that person or about what's going on with you. Okay, so we have some interesting, I'm getting this kind of medieval kind of theme going here with some of these. So in the middle here, we have a creature that looks very much like a horse, but then with this little horn. So I'm going to go ahead and say that looks very much like a unicorn. And I think because this is positioned right in the middle, this has to do with you. I think that you are probably a very kind of unique person. You're somebody that definitely stands out in your social groups. And not in a way that like you're alienated, but I think you are kind of like probably very personable, somebody who just really attracts people with your energy, with your intelligence, with your beauty, your creativity and ability. So I think that, it just is not difficult for you to meet people, bring people in. And I think that you're kind of even a person that is kind of a leader in your social group. So I think that a lot of times people are kind of really, going out of their way to talk to you or get your approval kind of. And, well, this is usually, I think, probably a positive. This can also be kind of tiring for you, I think. And you're not always like wanting to be on and having to deal with people like on a one-on-one basis. So I think that there's almost like, I almost get this impression that you have been kind of guarding your energy, maybe even like limiting your time with people, their accessibility to you. Right next to this unicorn, I'm seeing this formation. It looks kind of like a castle, and for me, it really gives me this impression of like a fortress. And I think that this could be true in the physical, but also in the spiritual and emotional. I think you've really kind of stepped back and taken a break from being around maybe family, friends, just limiting the time and energy you're putting into things outside of your direct life, maybe, outside of your home life. You've kind of just, minimized that a bit. And, that makes sense. All of us were kind of, forced to be kind of isolated for a couple years there. And then all of a sudden we came back into our social lives. You're trying to get back to some kind of normal. And it was almost like so much going on, you could almost get to a point of burnout really quickly. So I think that there are a number of things going on here, but I think that a big part of it is you're just feeling kind of burnt out from this, just a lot of different social activities, a lot of different kind of making up for lost time is kind of the vibe I'm getting. Okay, and then I also wanted to just mention, because it might be a little loud, my daughter's here next to me, so we have a toddler in the room, so you'll have to forgive if it gets if there's a little bit of noise here and there. I wanted to look at this beautiful formation. It looks like a crab with its little claws kind of in the air there. This is kind of more, not in a very relaxed posture. So I think that this just goes along with this idea of the fortress, because we think of the crab and it has kind of its outside skeleton. It's a skeleton. Okay, and I apologize. There's a little cut there. Okay, so we were talking about the crab. This is very much related to this idea of the fortress, the castle, the place that, the walls are up and you're kind of, have your protection, your boundaries. You are protecting your own energies. And so with the crab, we know they're wearing their armor all the time. They wear it on the outside. It's part of their body, their exoskeleton. And also related to the crab are, the tendencies of maybe a kind of cancer attributes. I know that you are a Pisces, so you are not a Cancer, but you might have some of those, watery tendencies as well. Kind of being very sensitive, very kind of slow to share your feelings, reserved, and, just kind of happily going along, doing things on your own terms. Maybe sometimes you shift between that very kind of social leader to more of a solitary person. And that's, that's really awesome to be able to go between those two kind of ways of existing. Honestly, I wish I was able to be more social. I'm very much on the more solitary side of that. When I was younger, I was a lot more social, but now I just don't even know how to get there. Okay, so I also want to look at this. This one looks like an A, and then we have an M. So A and M. Those, maybe it's the morning, the AM. Maybe this is a person with an A and an M in their initials, or in their name somewhere. So, but I also see, if you turn this, it turns into a flower, and you can see the petals and the leaves here with the stem. Okay, and so I think that this is probably somebody who you are friendly with, who you have care for. It seems like maybe they're one of the only people that you kind of are letting come into your space, and during this time of being a little more away from the world, away from other things. The other one I wanted to show you was this heart. We have a little heart here, and then a T next to that, and I want to be careful because my leaves are starting to dry. I have these new bright lights, and they dry out the T so quickly. So I think a heart with a T. Something with a T, could be a name, could be a word. We have another T up here. So let's go over this again. We had, what was the first one? We had a big B. Okay, we had the A and the M related to the flower, more of a friend. I don't think romantic because it's not like a rose or anything. And then we have a T, we have a T, we have a T, and then we have the heart with the T. So the T name seems like it's maybe more, this is a person that is more of like a romantic, there's kind of a romantic relationship there. Okay, now the other thing that I'm looking at is when we turn this crab around, we have a horse with its tail up. And so when a horse is kind of more excitable, it's, you know, happy, running around in the field, doing its thing. And I see that it looks like it is kind of eating. So I'm thinking it's like out, do horses graze? Yeah, great, like grazing? Or is that just cows? Well, I'm thinking of a horse out grazing in the field. And running around and kind of just having, you know, a really nice time, joyous and enjoying the nice weather probably. And so I think that, you know, on one side you have this tendency to be very like self-protective and a little more isolated, but I think you can also like jump into that joy of just being out and about, you know, kind of, you know, running around in glee and just kind of a very free-spirited, kind of almost childlike, innocent kind of love and joy for the world, for the things around you. And I think that, you know, that with the Pisces, it's all about balance, right? About the flowing down and up and kind of that yin yang, the powers, the macro, micro, where they meet and flow into each other and all of that. I think that that's very much the theme of a lot of things in your life. And so that makes sense to me that you would have kind of, you know, the ability to flow between these different parts of self and not have not being so inhibited that you don't want to show the range of your personality and your being. You're very comfortable with the fact that you can be many things. I wanted to look at this. We also have the number 6 right here. So I think the 6 is probably going to be something important. This is kind of more in this physical and emotional place. So this has to do with something. You know what it is. You will know what it is when it shows itself to you. So look out for the number 6. I also wanted to talk about part of why it seems to me, and as I'm looking at this, it's all kind of, I'm trying to tie this together. It seems to me, and let me talk about this card really quick. Okay, so this is the Thoth deck, and this would be the Aeon card or the Judgment in other decks. And this is also related to the angel or, you know, your guardian angel. And this is so much about kind of the universe, the old times, the old universe kind of coming to an end. There is all of these kind of different variables swimming around. It's kind of this primordial soup where in between the old and the beginning of the new coming together, it is starting to form to some degree, but these are kind of this is like the precursor to that new life or the new chapter in life, the new era of life. Okay, so I feel like you are really coming into a new time. You maybe are going through a rite of passage. You maybe are, you know, graduating college, getting married, going into middle age, going into retirement age, going into the last years of your life. Something big is happening where you are moving into a new place in your life. And I think that where you have felt this need to kind of fortify yourself and protect yourself from outside forces, it almost seems like this last part of your life, you were really, really about enjoying yourself, just kind of having a lot of fun, maybe being a little careless to some degree. But I think that something has happened that kind of was like the catalyst for this shift in your life. So maybe there was some death in your life. Maybe, you had a child. Like I said, maybe you're graduating school. Maybe you have retired. And something has happened where you really are thinking about getting very serious about things, planning a little bit more. I think also really applying yourself to your spiritual work, your emotional work. I really feel like, and I see in this image here, this person holding kind of like the world on their back. I feel like you have spent many years kind of really working very hard. I almost get this impression from like a young age that you were kind of forced into a care position, if that means that you were taking care of like siblings, or if your parents needed a lot of help, or maybe they weren't around a lot, maybe they were working all the time and you had to take care of yourself quite a bit. So there's almost like you had to grow up fast, and then as you got into adulthood, you were a little bit more carefree, okay, and maybe a little reckless to some degree. And although maybe you did go to school and maybe you have had jobs and a family and so on, I feel like there wasn't a really super deep seriousness about things beyond, kind of the more material and surfacey parts of your life. But I feel that you have kept this kind of posture of feeling like everything is resting on your shoulders. Okay, even if you've actively tried to avoid that to some degree, it's caught up with you quite a bit. And I feel like there's almost been a sense of something lacking where you really, you're strong maybe in your career, in your home life, your domestic life, doing well. But maybe you're quick to becoming emotional. Maybe you have a lot of shifting moods, okay? What we call mercurial moods. Maybe you get into deep sadness, melancholy, anger, whatever it is that you go into, it's kind of very intense. And so I think that you've really shifted into this place where you really want to start limiting all of these social ties, all of this stuff that you've been in charge of doing, the functions, going here and there and showing up for things and, hosting things and, being support system for different people. And, sometimes it gets very tiring, I imagine. And so I think that you're really getting to this point where it's like you want to do some work for yourself so you can get yourself really into a place where you feel very secure in how you're living and maintaining on a spiritual and emotional level. Okay. And I think that this is a great time for that. The universe seems to be really, I think promoting this, I think lining up the different situations that are happening in your life so that you may take a step back from some of these things that you have been probably responsible for. I also think that, you're just really to a point where I think, in life we can begin to resent and lament the things that we have, kind of the situations or positions we put ourselves in, and, kind of like struggle in that lamenting or, thinking over what we're going to do back and forth over and over and over. And then at some point, it's just, you just decide. Right? Like, okay, this is enough. I need to do something else. And I really feel like you have been in that situation to that point. Okay. So I'm starting to think that you're really working on, you know, going forward, not only cultivating this interior part of yourself, but deciding what your life is going to look like going forward. And that's huge, right? We have to sometimes take our time to kind of, you know, visualize what we want. And here is where I'm going to talk about, and I'm seeing kind of this little paintbrush and, you know, these different kinds of, I see this little animal kind of, oh, let me bring this forward, sorry. This little paintbrush, and I see this little animal. It looks like it's gone over this bridge here. And I really get this impression that you need to do some things that are more like the representational of the visions that you have. So like to some degree, maybe like laying out some blueprints, but also not actual blueprints maybe, but something like, you know, like a vision board, okay, or making lists of things, ideas, or desires that you have, things, goals, places you'd like to be, a bucket list, whatever it is. I think that really going through some of those actual, the activity of, you know, creating these things is going to help you be able to sort out what is kind of just like a fleeting fantasy versus something that's like a real goal that you have. And in that process of being creative, I think that you can also really explore in honesty what you are wanting in your life. Okay. Not only that, I think that there's almost this energy of, wanting to kind of shed some of the old parts of yourself, okay? You've been this beautiful unicorn for everybody else, but, you know, sometimes it gets tiring living to be what people imagine you to be. So going forward, I think that you probably, it would be of service to you to begin to shed some of that personal mythology to some degree, maybe erase that personal history. You don't have to share every bit of your life with everybody. You don't have to be the same person for every single person that you know. You know what I mean? Like we can be different people to the different parts of our lives that we have. So I think, you know, actively and with intent, taking control over how you want to be perceived and how much of yourself you want to share with others. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a wonderful way to, you know, take control of your life to some degree. Right? I think that, and I'm not talking about omitting really important things or, you know, fibbing about parts of your life. I just mean that you don't owe anybody any kind of explanation about yourself. And, you know, the older I get, I realize that more and more. Although I do overshare a little bit here and there. But, you know, who I was when I was 21 years old is not who I am now. I'm almost 40 years old. I have a family, you know, I have a business and a house to take care of and a life and, you know, completely different priorities. And, you know, so when I come in contact with people from my past or, you know, meeting new people now, I don't feel like I have to go over all of the things of my life, right? And of course, obviously, we don't have to. And so I think, you know, that's something to keep in mind as you're building this new cycle of life, this new era for yourself. You know, it's okay to decide who you want to be and who you want to be to other people. And I know, you know, that sounds like a really, like, no duh, Lenor. But really, honestly, not everybody knows that or feels that way. So, you know, it can be very, very freeing to come to that realization and to employ that. Okay, so I just want to take a look at this. And I see that there's a lot of like, it feels like there's a lot of solar energy coming into play for you. And I think that it really is just illuminating these like these wants, these needs that are just, you can't ignore them. They're making themselves very evident. I think that you are following your intuitive will. I think that you are being truthful and honest to yourself, being an authentic participant in your own life. And, you know, I think that that is just, there's just this beautiful circle of light. Okay. And I think there's a beautiful balance here. And, you know, aside from that, I think that, you know, just stay the course, and, you know, if you waver in that, that's okay. But come back to your truth and, you know, get right back on that horse and keep going, you know? So I think that, you know, that's really the story that we have today. And I really appreciate your time, Pisces. And I'm always so thankful to be able to bring these messages to you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm, and I appreciate that. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please think about doing that. If you hit the bell, you can get notifications about videos coming out. The other thing is, oh yes, leave a comment. Let me know how you're doing. I always love hearing from all of you, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I have great love for all of the people that are here, and also on my husband's channel. There are a lot of really nice comments over there as well. And you know, just all the love that we receive for the work we're doing. It really brings a lot of love into our household, and I appreciate that so much. Okay, I thank you. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, Pisces. We will see you soon.